Hey, what's up guys? This is Victor again, and today I want to talk to you about this amazing desk. The desk that you can be absolutely lazy in and still get work done. I'm talking about these horizontal desks. There are a few companies that make them, such as Altwork, where you can work by completely laying down. It looks pretty insane and a little scary as well. You know how you might sometimes drop your phone on your face while laying down and texting? Now imagine one of these screens crushing your face. But you know what's even scarier? The price tag. For Altwork's horizontal desk, you can have one for just $7,650. That's crazy, but not surprising that there are some people out there that would pay good money for this luxury. However, I think I may have found a way more affordable and compact solution. Meet my horizontal desk setup. Mine is super simple. I have an iPad 6th generation mounted with the U-Green tablet mounts. I use Apple's wireless Magic Keyboard and trackpad as my peripherals, with the laptop lap desk to set them on for comfort and ease of use. And then I use some pillows as some armrests. From here I can do pretty much everything. I can work on my iPad or for my Mac and PC, computer, play video games like Steam and PS4, watch movies and YouTube, and so much more. All from the comfort of my bed. Pretty straightforward, but let's dive deeper now to each part so I can show you everything that you can do with this kind of setup. First off, let's talk about this mount, because it's the most important thing that you'll need to make this all happen. I bought the U-Green mount on Amazon over a year ago for $32.99, and it allows you to fit just about any phone, tablet, or heck even a Nintendo Switch right to the end of it while clamping onto the head, or in my case, bar of the bed frame. Now, I have heard that this mount tends to struggle a lot with the bigger 12.9 iPad Pro, so with that you may need to look elsewhere, but for my iPad, it does just the trick. I'm able to swivel the head around in just about any direction that I need it in, and what's great is that it makes it easy enough to switch my iPad's orientation around from landscape to portrait view. And whenever I feel like it, I can also easily adjust this mount to a sitting position. It's perfect and has held up very nicely for what I use it for. I do not regret buying this thing at all. I know there are a lot of other mounts out there, but this one has worked perfectly for me. Now let's move on to the tablets. You're going to need one, and for this I would strongly recommend an iPad, and here's why. The iPad has a huge library of compatible streaming and remote apps that we'll get into later. Also, it just works as a desktop. With the latest update of iPadOS and official mouse support, it truly opens up the iPad's potential as a productive device. I can practically do all of my assignments on my iPad alone, and heck, can even take notes while at school by using a combination of Teams and OneNote using iPad's multitasking. But when I need the full power of an actual desktop computer, I use Duet Display. Duet Display allows me to connect my iPad wirelessly to my MacBook and or PC and use it as a display. However, I would need to switch the connection of my peripherals from my iPad to my MacBook first, and it works incredibly well. So long as you have a solid internet connection, you won't notice any lag. However, I would not recommend streaming videos over, as that does cause some buffer and you will notice some audio latency. But overall, for the purpose of getting work done, such as homework and even editing like photo editing or something, it does the job. Now, to use Duet Air, which allows you to remotely connect it to your MacBook or PC, it does cost $20 per year, which is not bad at all compared to some of the other apps that do the same thing. Now, there is also Sidecar, which is a feature built into macOS Catalina that allows you to use your iPad as a second display, but it requires that you have a Mac built in 2016 or later, as well as an iPad that can run the latest iPadOS. My Mac was built in mid-2014, so it doesn't cut it. But regardless, I would probably still stick with Duet Display because I use my MacBook in clamshell mode, and doing so would cause the Sidecar connection to disconnect. Duet Display allows me to use my iPad as the primary display for my MacBook while it is in clamshell mode. Now, if you have a PC, you don't have to use the Duet Display. While it is an option, you can use a free app from Microsoft called Remote Desktop. The only drawback from using this option though is that if you want actual mouse support over Remote Desktop, then you would have to use a very special mouse called SwiftPoint GT. If you don't, then using just any other mouse or trackpad will ensue a very awkward experience. But anyways, that will be a video for another day, so be sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss it. Now, I also mentioned gaming. With the new iPad software, I can connect my PS4 remote and then remotely connect my iPad to my PS4 to be used as a display. And this works okay. I wouldn't recommend playing any fast-paced online competitive games, as this does tend to buffer a lot, especially on high settings. So you really need to be sure that you have a solid connection. In fact, if possible, connect your PS4 and iPad to LAN to reduce the amount of buffer and have consistent gameplay. You can do so by using a LAN adapter that is compatible with your tablet, like the one I use for my iPad. It allows me to charge my iPad while it is connected to LAN, as well as give me an additional USB, which I can use to charge my controller and game. And then of course there is the Steam Link app that allows you to stream games from your Mac or PC via Steam to play on your iPad, which works just as good as the PS4 remote app. So the same rules apply here, just be sure you have a strong internet connection. So let's move on to peripherals. The ones that I use are specific to Mac and iPad, and they are pretty costly. However, I would recommend using them because they give me easier control. The dedicated function keys for volume control really come in hand on the keyboard, and it's much easier to use a trackpad while laying down rather than a mouse that will constantly slide around if you move too much. Plus, using a trackpad for the iPad feels way more natural to do than using a mouse, because the gestures that the iPad uses does require you to swipe with different fingers and so forth. So bottom line, get a trackpad. Now let's talk about that lap desk. This was one I bought off Amazon over 2 years ago, and honestly I can't remember how much it cost because I also can't find it on Amazon anymore. I originally bought this as a lap desk for my MacBook, and it is perfect, but it also works great for the setup. However, Apple's trackpad is so massive that it doesn't sit right in the small mouse space that was put into this lap desk. It doesn't really matter though, because I usually just tap on the trackpad anyways to open up links and files, and it keeps its balance pretty well. What I also like about this lap desk is that it also has a space for almost everything. The top slot you see there is actually for a tablet like the iPad. Near where the mouse goes there are 2 slots. The one on top is for your smartphone, and the one on the side is for your pencil, or in my case, my Apple Pencil. As some nice touches, it has a soft palm rest and pillows on the bottom that help keep it comfortable and upright. I would say those are the 2 most important factors that should go into buying one of these for yourself. I went ahead and placed a link in the description for another one that I would recommend, as it is similar to the one that I have since I can't find the one that I bought. So what's the verdict here? Well, this is not as featured packed as Altwork's desk. It's close enough to what you may want to do, which is stay in bed and continue working on the computer, or just enjoy yourself playing games, watching movies. And while this won't cost you $7,000 to build, it may still cost you a bit considering on what you do and don't have. In my case, I already had the iPad and the keyboard, but let's say you had nothing but a computer you wanted to remote into. Then let's break this down. If you're trying to emulate my setup, then an iPad can cost you as low as $309 with Apple's education discount if you're a student like I am. And that's for Apple's newest 7th gen iPad. The mount I use costs $32.99, the trackpad is $123.99, but it's more if you want the space gray one. The keyboard is $99, the desk I placed in the description costs $52.99, and to use Duet Display wirelessly you need a subscription, which is $20 per year. So in total we're looking at about $637.97 before taxes, which is a lot regardless. But remember, you can save a lot of money in many places surrounding this build. For example, you don't have to use the same peripherals, you can use some other cheap wireless keyboard and mouse, and the iPad doesn't have to be the latest model. If you're using Duet Display, it's compatible with iPads that run all the way back to iOS 7. That means you can just use a regular iPad Air. Just keep in mind though that you won't have the luxuries of using the iPad OS, which essentially makes the iPad a computer. And there are cheaper lap desks out there, so shop around and find one that works with your budget. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this. Let me know how you guys build your horizontal workstation in the comments below. Also, post your horizontal desk to Instagram with the hashtag YouBetcha and comment down below once you've done so that I can see what yours looks like. I'm generally curious. I'll comment on your Instagram post with my thoughts. That'll be all for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.